Hey, Brett, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate this.
excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
My name is Brett Singer. I'm one of the principals at Bottle Rocket Media. We're a digital agency here in Chicago. We started 15 years ago as a video production and motion graphic studio. And over the past 3 or 4 or 5 years have slowly added marketing services, and those can be SEO and AI search optimization strategies, SEM, paid social, paid media strategies about that, for our clients. We make videos and we help our clients make sure the videos get seen.
Awesome. And how'd you get started? I mean, was this an accident starting an agency with your partner?
Uh, let's say no. Let's say it was intentional.
Okay.
About 15 years ago, myself and my business partner both worked, and actually our creative director, all worked at the Oprah Winfrey Show here in Chicago, about 10 blocks that way on Randolph at Harpo Studios. So my background is motion design. Dan, my business partner, Dan Fisher, his background is editing and directing. And so we were there for many years. I was there for about 10, 12 years. So saw a ton of change happen at the Oprah Winfrey Show, from SD to HD, from one screen on the set to 40 screens on the set, and then eventually, her closing up shop and heading out west. So we finished the Oprah Winfrey Show. And so this is truly 15 years ago, so 2011. And we're thinking, like, is there a space? We kind of wanted to get out of broadcast. We saw the hustle that it was, and we were
A lot of work.
it's a lot of work and a lot of hustle from show to show to show. The work is the great part. That's always easy. Doing the work is a ton of fun. But we were very lucky to have a very consistent show that was well paying for many, many years. And the business rarely has those, and you're kind of hopping from job to job to job. And so we're like, is there a more stable life while we still get to
A stable life in agency world?
where we still get to say action and cut occasionally, be directors, be producers, and hopefully control our futures a bit, as opposed to just being at the whim of, is the host of our show great? Is that show concept going to last? Did it get picked up? So we started Bottle Rocket. Dan started it, and a few months after I joined, and it was just the two of us. I said we started out as a video production place, so it was just the two of us running around with some Canon 5Ds, which was a big deal at the time, and making some content, and then slowly grew it into a full scale video production company, and that worked for many, many years, based on our relationships we had with all these amazing people that were at the Oprah Show and in TV in general. That show ended, and while, yes, some people went to Steve Harvey and some people went to Ellen and some people went here, many people went into corporate America, went into the American Dental Association or the Marketing Association or this agency or that company. And so we had this massive network of folks that we knew, that we loved, and they knew us and loved our work from the show. So we were able to build a book of business, initially just from our great personal and professional network.
That's really cool.
At some point, though, we were like, this isn't enough. And we hired a marketing person, and she's like, oh, we're fixing all of this. And all of that was our lack of anything, our website, all of these things. And so we put a massive amount of effort into our own marketing efforts, specifically our own SEO efforts. And then we saw a huge influx of business coming to us. So we weren't all outbound. Now we're massively inbound. And so we're like, we might be onto something here.
How long did it take, and maybe you're still doing some of this, when you start a business, you're doing everything and anything you possibly can, and you're kind of forced to do a lot of things that we weren't made to be doing. How long did it take you to get out of that?
A very long time. We got advice very early on that basically said, if you're in the business, you're not growing the business. you hear that and you're like, oh, sure, fine, and you start off and you're like, I'm the brand, we're the ones doing it, we're the faces of the company. But very quickly, we acknowledge that if we're doing all of it, that's the wrong way. We're not doing it the right way. So within the first few years, you start to hire people. And for us, we started to very specifically peel away what are the jobs that we don't need to do and what are the founder only jobs. Now, we like doing that other
What were
stuff.
some of the founder only jobs that you guys listed out?
Founder only jobs are company vision, where are we going and why do we want to get there? Business development, certainly in the beginning, if our faces and voices are part of the brand. In the beginning, HR, in the beginning, more high level creative, what wasn't initially founder only jobs as a video production company was the editing, was the shooting, was the motion graphics, the things that we loved. And by the way, the only things we were really skilled in to begin with. That's how we built the company. And then very quickly you realize, oh, that's the easy stuff of a business. Making the widget, oh, that's easy. It's everything else that's very hard.
So,
and that everything else is, by the way, the founder only stuff.
how did you start giving that video editing and video shooting up? Since you guys, that was your world for over a decade, and that's what you were really good at. So how'd you give that up?
Kicking and screaming and slowly,
Did you have to have people help you? Like,
no,
kick you and say you need to get out of this?
Because there's two of us, we have the benefit of having a great relationship. That if you're a solo founder, I think it's a very different thing. When there's two people, unfortunately for us, we're either thinking the exact same thing at the same time, or we're on opposing views very healthily, where we can argue. And I think at some point it's like, if I was doing the graphics and he's like, I'm doing that, or I'm going to get new business. Well, we need new business. So let's put someone in the chair there. Well, I'm doing this, or I'm going to go shoot, or I'm going to start to find an office for us, or I'm going to do other stuff. So it just became out of necessity. And then once you flip that switch and you hire somebody else, and you go, oh, I do have a lot more time for this stuff, and you start to be able to see a little bit of the forest through the trees for us. But then once that starts, you're like, well, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. And you realize how much of this stuff really can be achieved with smart, thoughtful other people that you hire, or freelancers, or whatever it is. And to this day, we're still trying to eliminate as many non-essential tasks that are on us, so we can be truly isolated to vision and culture and growth, and making sure everybody here has what they need to be amazing.
Yeah, I struggled with it for many, many, many years. And, because I was like, look, I was the best designer. I was, no one could design like me. And then when I started taking a step back, I started realizing, I was like, wow, these designers, that's all they do. And they're a lot better than me, as long as
all of their attention is on it.
Yeah. And as long as I give them the direction of where to go. And then, I don't know if you guys went through this. I went through a depression because the business didn't need me for what I used to do. And I realized that I didn't have to work as much. And that was hard for me, because for so many years, I was the hardest working one. And then when you get to kind of what I call like the CEO stage, not just the title, right? Like you're the actual role, where you're only working like 20 hours a week. Like, that's it. And the rest of the time, you can go do other stuff. And that's why you built this business. That's why you started the business, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's, we we've gone through phases of things. We started the business because we both wanted to be directing more. I really wanted to say action and cut. That was like something I wanted to do. Well, then you're like, okay, well, I've done a lot of that. Now I want to get really good at this. We have been many roles in our company. We've been editors and designers and producers and camera operators and directors and creative directors. All of those things I've done. So I know what those roles, for the most part, everyone's different, need to be amazing. And a few years ago, Dan and I were basically the same person. And it was kind of like whoever picked up the phone, so to speak, they were leading that job. But at some point, we're like, shouldn't someone focus on sales and someone focus on production? And we're like, okay, we kind of flipped a coin. And I became the biz dev guy who was really focusing attention, on growing sales and the creative in the sales process and all of that. And I haven't directed in a while, and occasionally I will. And there is like a bit of a moment of like, this would be fun, and I go to set, and I'm like, oh, there's people around, this is so great, and then I'm also like, okay, I'm happy to go. Good luck. It's like I missed it and I did it enough and hopefully maybe well enough that I think I'm over that hump, but I think there was a point where like, am I doing this? Am I giving up the thing I loved to service this other part of the business that no one else can really do? And there is a moment of like, is this the right choice? And what am I doing? Is this going to keep me happy? And truly at the end of the day, I just want to keep learning is what I want to do. We're trained creatives. You're a trained creative. It doesn't sound like you're trained at business with a capital B. We weren't. And so I want to keep being better at business. And that's a marathon, and that's not a sprint.
Well, it's an evolution. I think for anyone to survive in really any type of business, you have to evolve. And because when you start a business, like when I started my first business, I didn't know what an invoice was. My first client asked me to send an invoice.
You're like,
so
yes.
What should, yeah, like what is that? I had to ask my dad because Google wasn't around, right? So
yeah, totally.
Everything is an evolution. And if you don't want to evolve, I think that's when it's time to hang that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or go try something else. Because when I sold the first agency, I felt like I was at max. But then only after I sold it, and then I started helping out people, my old competitors, I was like, oh man, there's so much more.
Yeah.
And even in this role, like I'm constantly evolving and understanding and learning new things that you can be better. Like it's amazing what you get with age.
Oh my God. Yeah, 100%. We've been working with this incredible, sales consultant, this guy, Scott Peterson. He's been incredible. And when we unearth an opportunity to be better, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. How did we get this far doing this when we should have been doing that? Like, it thrills me. It so excites me when I see there's a black and white way to do it better or to move in that direction, as opposed to just like, someone being defensive. Like, well, we've been doing it this way. I'm very quick to be like, holy shit. How have we made it this far without knowing that? Like, that's thrilling to me, because we want to be better. We want to keep growing, and there's no end to it. We've made it this far, and there's so much more room for improvement in how we operate and how we work with our customers, how we work with our clients, how we work with our team, how we work with ourselves. It's, oh my God, it's so exciting to me. So I think you hit the nail on the head. The second I'm like, I'm good, then that's the canary in a coal mine for like, okay, well, maybe I am done with this business or this phase of my life, and I got to figure out what's the next thing that's going to excite me. Yeah. I'm not there yet. I got a million things to learn.
Well, I think we all go through that many times, and that's like the false canary, right? Where there may be just one problem that you just haven't been able to solve. right? And it could be lead generation, it could be sales, it could be production or holding on to people or whatever it is, right?
Anything, There's
the
a billion of
list
them.
is longer than my arm, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to figure out, like, is it really, are you sick of this because it's a certain problem? Like, if you could fix that one problem, your biggest problem,
Right.
would you still want to do it? Like, does it still give you energy? Because I feel too many people give up too quick versus, kind of looking at it and going, is this just a phase that I'm going to get through? Like, someone told me in the mastermind, they were telling me this concept around like how lions hunt, and you think of lions are this apex predator, right? And you would think lions must work all the time. Well, 80% of the time they're laying around just resting, enjoying life. 20% they're hunting.
Right.
And I kind of look at it like, what phase are you in? Are you in the hunting phase? Are you in the resting phase? And I constantly go through multiple phases going, sometimes like I'll be like, man, I'm bored of shit. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I'm like, no, I'm just kind of like, let me just solve this one little thing and let me rest for a little bit. And then I get so much energy. Like, I was like that 6 months ago. I literally was going, man, I really don't want to learn something new. All these gurus are coming out talking about AI and how it's going to kill the agency world. Maybe it will.
Right.
Like, I started doing all my video editing on Claude, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, and then I started experimenting with it. And then I used that as a catapult to get me energized again.
Energized,
going,
right.
wow.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah. It's funny. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny example, but I love checking a box. I get the endorphin, you know what I mean? And my box checking doesn't need to be like $1 million project. It could be, we had a camera base plate, just a little bit of gear where the camera gets screwed into it and that plate auto locks into like a tripod. And we got this base plate, we sent it back to Canada. There's a problem, this place, and sent it back. And it turned out we just needed a 2mm hex screw to undo this one screw and adjust this thing. And I had to order the hex screw. And when we got the hex screwdriver, and it was like, and I came in today and our AP was like, I fixed the base plate. All 3 base plates worked now. And I was like, oh, is that so satisfying? That was a problem we had. We didn't think it was solvable. We thought it was a stripped screw. And now we fixed it for a $6 screwdriver and a little bit of information. Wasn't that great? For all the stuff and the hundreds of thousands of dollars of gear, we fixed it was a $2 screw and a $6 screwdriver. It was so satisfying. And it's like, I like solvable problems. I'm like, that was a great problem. We solved that. Or someone's like, oh my God, something happened. And I'm like, here you go. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm like, no, I love solving problems. That was easy. Like, I like some easy wins throughout the day. It gets me, adrenalized and excited and pumped up. And then I go and hit the harder one. I'm like, oh, now I'm going to bang my head against the wall a little bit, or the stuff that cannot be solved in 3 minutes, because I am trying to increase my engagement. I am trying to get a customer to reply to an email. I am trying to send a better, more effective, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you got to take them all. You got to take the wins where you can get them and get excited about them,
Well, I think if you run a business, you have to be in the problem solving, right?
Yes.
And I tell everybody when they join the mastermind, look, we're going to solve your biggest challenge that you're coming into the mastermind for, but that will create other challenges.
Yes, but that's not the biggest, right?
Right?
I love that everybody here has a job and they know what to do. And occasionally they go, can you help me with, and they feel bad because they're asking me, the principal of the company, to help order toilet paper or help with the screw. And I'm like, no. My job is to serve you. You have a full-time job. You should be editing and not worrying about the desk. Let me solve that problem for you. And if I've cleared away enough stuff, all I'm doing is serving my team. Because my sole job is, not my sole job, but to them, my job to them is create the most amazing, perfect, effective, creative environment where they can do great work. Whether that means like a better chair. You like those pencils? Let me get you those pencils. You like that thing? And everyone's like, oh my God, you'll get me a new mouse. I'm like, a new mouse? That's a $40 win. I'll get you a new mouse every, you know what I mean? Like those are easy things.
Yeah.
It's so like, I like being the guy that gets on a ladder and does a thing because that's my job. Everyone else has a job. That
Mhm.
should be my job. That's what my time should be. It should be vision. It should be supporting, and it should be doing the stuff on the ladder.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be doing this business as long as I have been without my team because I do it more for my team.
Yeah.
And I feel like, like for example, they'll say, hey, we need to grow this. I'm like, I'm kind of good. Like if it was just me, I'd just be like, even
Do it.
keel.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But then I'm like, all right, well, if you guys want to go there, like, how can I support you? How can I
Yes.
help you get there? Right? Like,
Yes.
because I looked at my role as the CEO is I need to coach and mentor my team, support them, however, just like you were
Yes.
saying, like make them better, help them evolve to the
Yes.
next role that
Yeah.
they need to play. And like, how can they grow within the company? How can they grow within themselves? Because if I can make them better, then the company's better, right?
Yes.
And then then it's a lot more fun because I always look at like someone said to me like evolve or die, and I'm like, it's so true.
Yeah. 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 Especially for the team stuff, so early on, like we were saying, like we are the brand, you were the brand, your style, your idea. Oh, you're picking that blue, I had to pick that blue, or whatever it is. And at some point you give it up and go, and you sometimes things come and you go, I wouldn't have done it that way, but it's not the wrong way. It's just a
Mhm.
different way.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to step in and say, do it my way. They made a choice. That was their choice. I'm empowering the team to be awesome. And that's their awesome. And at some point, it's not good enough. Is mine better? It's negligible, and just really empowering them to like have fun and do stuff and not feel like someone's waiting to go like, oh, but we should tweak that, or oh, I don't know about that blue. And so releasing some of those things and knowing that my ideas aren't the best ideas, or just because I think it's strange, that it doesn't mean it's not a great idea, whether it's a marketing thing internally or for us or for our thing. It's like, it's letting go of some of those things. Yes, my creative, Dan's creative, got us here, but that's not what can sustain the company.
Yeah.
The company will die if it's dependent on my sole creative input, which is ridiculous, or
Well,
Dan's creative input.
the key word that you said there is empower, because if you don't empower your team, you wind up in a bottleneck situation where
Right.
everything's falling on your shoulders, and
Yeah.
you don't have that freedom, right? Like, so like if you guys are listening to this episode and like you're in a car ride and you're about to go into a bunch of shit that you have to fix and do,
Yeah.
you're probably the bottleneck. And the only way
Yeah.
out is really to kind of empower the right team in the right seat with the
Yep.
right systems in place. Or even if you're not a systems person,
Mm-hmm.
finding that right person that can create the systems to
Yeah.
empower the rest of the team. Because what I found, and I always talk about on the show now, especially since I wrote, the new book, Operator to Owner, is a lot of times we're just managing people and we're the worst managers in the world because
Yeah.
we don't have time for that shit. Right.
Right.
I could only lead people that can manage themselves. Like that's what I found. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times when I have people on the show, it's the same story for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to find people that can manage themselves. And then my job is how can I evolve their role where they're empowering others to manage themselves, and so on
Yes.
and so on and so on.
Yes.
And then, we're only doing the stuff that we need to vision, empower the people, coach the team,
Yeah.
build key relationships, and that's really it. And then
Yeah.
I can get involved in any of the other stuff
Right. And you
that I
can pick
want.
and choose and pop in and out. Yeah. It really it starts one step before what you said. It starts with hiring. Are we hiring the right people? You know, and a client of ours, a guy, Sean Rigsecker, who has an ad tech company called Basis. And, you know, he says repeatedly, the most important thing we do is choose who to hire. And it's not necessarily this arduous process. It's just making sure they're a good culture fit. And culture fit could mean like, are they, when empowered, are they going to self-manage and then come to you when they need you, or encourage people to do that? So it's finding those right people that fit your mojo, that fit, you know, the flow of the place.
Yep.
And you know, it's not always like the best experience or the most this, you know, like, you know, kindness is a very, very important core value of our company. It's something that's, you know, wildly important to me. And it was always like, and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of assholes in any business. And I've always said that's like a client would, you know, given the choice of working with the most brilliant asshole or a really, really, really good, nice guy, they're always going to choose a really, really good, nice person.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to spend time with them and you got to
Well,
do
until
it.
they're
So
burned by the asshole.
exactly. Yes. So
Right.
it's like taking the time to hire well, and frankly, that's hard.
Yeah.
It takes you know, you make mistakes and you just gotta acknowledge them and, you know, kind of reset quick and but yeah, this, like I said, the agency stuff, making the campaign, making the video, easy. That stuff is easy. It's all of this other stuff that's hard. And that's why being an agency owner, being a business owner, being the owner of a bakery, being the owner of a plumber shop, that's hard. All, you know, the task is easy, and it's
Yep.
not for the faint of heart, and it doesn't come quick, but you got to stick with it and be passionate about it. And it's amazing how quickly things can change, you know.
Awesome. Well, Brett, thanks so much for coming on the show. And for everyone listening, if you're kind of in a spot where you need to evolve, check out the book, Operator to Owner. It goes through
You
the
should.
5 shifts, the 5 identity shifts that you need to go through in order to really kind of get to the ultimate end goal and own the company rather than the company own you. So go check that out. And until next time, have a swank day.